Here's how to move out in 2021. This is for anyone moving out of their parents' house, anyone looking to start a new life. If you do not have kids, if you do have kids, I'm sure you could still probably get something out of it. And I'm sure you could still easily find extra information on getting into a new house or apartment with kids anywhere else as well. This is not about how to sell your house and buy a new one. And it's also not about moving to a different state or country. Why? To be frank, I haven't done it yet. If I recommend any apps to use, by the way, they may still be well known. Some of them, by the time I made this video, they'd been out for a while and I'd used them for a few years at least. This is not the full instruction video on how to move out. This is just the main gist because there are a lot of moving parts. Get it? Moving parts? That was dumb. That wasn't even a joke. This is the main gist. So if you already know all of this, and if there's anything important that I didn't include, please let me know in the comments below so that whoever is watching does not miss out on that information. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam and I want to make self-growth normal because people shouldn't have to look this information up. It should just be mainstream knowledge. This is the type of stuff that people should learn in schools. If you want to make self-growth normal, because I don't want to do it alone, then make sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Step 1 of how to move out in 2021 is determine a budget. How to determine a budget. Finances, finances, finances. Finances. Know how much you have, know how much you make, know how much you save. What gets measured gets improved. I don't know who said that. I think it might have been Gandhi.
Be the change you wish to see in your bank account.
The change that you can use to move out of your home and into a new one. This is very important though because you have to be saving enough to pay rent, but you also have to be making enough to qualify for an apartment. Landlords usually require that you make at least 3 times the base rent. If you don't make at least 3 times the base rent, many places do allow co-signers, but the co-signer, if you have a co-signer, has to be making at least 5 times the base rent. And you and or your co-signer do need to be able to provide proof of income, so get your pay stubs ready. Don't actually. Because we're not that far into the process yet, but...
Sam, I have no idea how much I have saved up. I don't know how much I have saved. I don't know how much I make. All I know is that I have a job.
I hear you. Money is not easy to manually track every day, especially if you have a job or you go to school or you have kids or any combo of the 3. So like probably everything else in life, there's an app for that. In fact, there are probably many apps for that. The most popular one is called Mint. So figure out on a month-to-month basis, write this all down by the way, how much you're making, how much you're saving, and that divided by 3 or less is ideally how much to pay for rent and other utilities and expenses. Utilities, there's something to keep in mind as well because utilities or expenses, what have you, whatever you want to call them. Those can be hundreds of dollars depending on where you want to live. So plan accordingly. You got this. How much do you need to move out? Multiple sources will tell you 3 months worth of rent and expenses. So if you're going to pay $1,000 a month for rent and expenses are $200, that's $1,200. $1,200 times 3 months is $3,600. So you should have at least $3,600 saved up. And a lot of places will say 3 to 6 months. So if you have $7,200 saved up, the more the better. What I like to do in general is just save 40% of what I make at basically all times. Because you literally never know what's going to happen and what you might need that money for. The more time goes by, the more you'll have, the more you'll save, the more you learn, the more you make, the more you'll be able to spend when the time comes that you need to spend a big amount, or it makes the most sense for you to spend a big amount. I started doing this around the time quarantine hit, and by the time my girlfriend and I moved late last month, I ended up sitting on maybe 15 times our rent and expenses. And let me tell you, it feels very, very empowering to be that prepared. Step 2, determine where you're gonna live.
Where are you gonna live? Where are you going to live?
Once you have a budget, you have to figure out where you're gonna live. This may take some soul searching because it ultimately depends most on what matters most to you at this point in your life. And believe me, I know from experience this can be a lot to think about. I've moved out of my mom's house twice. 2 different houses. One time alone and another 4 years later with a girlfriend, and I will never live in her house again. So what matters most right now? Is it family time? Is it education? Is it saving money? Is it developing a valuable skill? If it's family, you should probably move close or closer to them. If it's education, you should probably move out close to a school of choice and hash out those details of getting into it several months ahead of time so you have a date to base your move-in date around. If it's saving money, move to a low-cost area. And by the way, if it is saving money, I highly recommend the top of the priority list is not saving money, because saving money will always be important, but as a focus, making it will always be more important. Maybe this is just the way I see it. Maybe. But you can make millions of dollars a lot faster by focusing more on making it than saving it. Am I a millionaire? No, but I got this advice from a billionaire. What matters most? If it's developing a valuable skill, then go where that skill is well valued and where it can be best developed. As cliche as it sounds, it's better than anything to just follow your heart. Things could change in a few years. You could fall in love. You could go through a terrible breakup. You may decide that this profession isn't right for you. You may decide to take everything in a completely different direction. Life inherently is very unpredictable, and I'm just preaching here the idea of figuring things out in the short term, which is another reason why this is about moving into an apartment and not selling your house and buying another one. If that is what you want to do, all the better. Do your thing. Go you. Seriously, please. Buy and sell to your heart's content, no judgment. The market is a raging bull at the making of this video. What to look for in a place? Step 3, determine what you want in an apartment. I've spoken to leasing agents about this. I've had to speak to a lot of leasing agents in the process of getting into the apartment that we're in right now. And the best app for apartments is, simply put, apartments.com. This is an amazing site to find an apartment, but starting out, more importantly, it's an amazing place to look at apartments and find out what you want. Once you have a city or area, type it in. Here, let me do this. Apartments.com. We moved to Pittsburgh. I have so much to say about Pittsburgh. It's only been 2 weeks and I could probably make a video about that too, but I don't think it's as interesting to people, so I'm not gonna do that. You can pick the price range, how many beds, the type of property and lifestyle. We didn't worry about move-in dates originally because what's online is rarely the full story with these landlords, and it's always important to contact them and double check the availability, which we'll go over later. You can pick how many bathrooms. Some amenities matter a lot to some people. Again, figure out what matters to you, and this is an amazing site to do that because there's so many, and you can find out how easy they are to find, and just being real here, how realistic your expectations are. We have a sweet old senior cat named Sugar, so we only looked at cat-friendly apartments, but you have to be willing to sacrifice some things if necessary, just something worth keeping in mind. Some apartments might have everything you want, but they could be missing a big thing, like in-unit laundry or a pool, for example. My girlfriend really wanted a loft, but we were able to get 2 full bathrooms. Something I was once trained to ask customers is, I understand that it's missing X, but if it had everything else you were looking for, would you at least consider it? It's a good question to ask yourself if you're looking for an apartment, because if the answer is no, I would just say to keep looking. If you're like me and you like to be organized by it, keep a Google sheet with the building name, agent number, agent email, how far it is from school or work or wherever, you know, like what I said, most important to you, the total/base rent, and any call notes. It's like looking for a car. And this is coming from someone who sells cars. It's like looking for a computer or TV. Some places are gonna charge you $500 more per month that are half the size, with only 1 bathroom. And they could be really loud and annoying because they're in this really busy city. But it's still gonna be $500 more because they're 11 floors up and they have a nice view out the window. And they advertise an infinity pool that's not gonna be built until 2026. Some people care a lot more about that view and the Futurama sci-fi pool than the extra space. So they'll pay that $500 extra every month. It took us 45 days of time and 10 hours of driving and several hundreds of dollars to find out that we didn't. And I say this like I had an experience with it or something, because I did! Until we found this apartment, the apartment that we are in right now. Apartments.com was our best friend, and now it can be yours. And sometimes when you're in a bad mood, it can help to just look at them and do a little bit of daydreaming. Step 4. start reaching out to places. This is where a lot of people will stop in their tracks, which I understand. This is beyond planning. This is where the rubber hits the road. And that's understandable. I'll probably make a video soon about what to do if you're scared to make phone calls, whether it's at work or in personal life or anything like that. Because before I was in car sales, I was in internet car sales. Some things to keep in mind moving forward that I probably should have listed at the beginning of this video. A lot of landlords require that you make at least 3 times the base rent. What does this mean? It means that if it says this apartment is $800 a month, you and whoever else you're moving in with have to be making at least $2,400 a month total to qualify for it. If you do not make that much, or even have a job lined up yet, you can have a cosigner, maybe a parent or sibling or something, but the cosigner has to be making at least 5 times the base rent. So your cosigner would have to be making at least $4,000 a month. Most landlords operate like this. If you don't have a job lined up yet, it might be a smart idea to get one before your move-in date, unless you're one of those people who is somehow able to find a job in less than a week and will never spend a week or longer unemployed. Again, because if you have a start date, if you get a job before the start date, you can base your move-in date around that. Now, just because something is listed and says available doesn't mean it's available. I don't know why this is. I even asked a landlord and I couldn't get an answer out of them. What is online is not always the full story, and there's a good side of this too, by the way. Lollipop Lane and Lily's Lofts might have a 1-bed, 1-bath at an even lower price than the original listing that you wanted. That's not available, and maybe the square footage isn't all too different that it's not worth it. So if you reach out because you found something that you really like and it's not available, ask what might be available soon. If you have to change your date just to find the right apartment, again, it's a little bit about flexibility as far as what you're looking for, but it's also about, you know, persistence and making sure that you have the time to find out what you're looking for. And again, if you like to keep things organized and you like to make sure that you cross your D's and dot your I's, I would recommend keeping a Google sheet with the building name, agent number, agent email, how far it is from school or work, the total and or base rent, and any call notes. We were approved for 3 different apartments before getting into this one, and I found it was a lot easier to get into this one and all the other ones with a Google sheet. So that is what to consider before reaching out to places. Start inquiring online using apartments.com, their inquiry submission thing. If no one gets back to you, call them a day later. What do you say? We'll get to that in just a sec. By the way, it's a good idea not to engage with more than 3 people at a time. I did this for weeks and it drove my girlfriend insane. Also, again, a lot easier. If you have a place that you call, it may be smart to have a list of questions ready in case that apartment is available. I don't know if it's still like this, but especially on apartments.com, a lot of places that are available, they will not be available for long. What should you have in those questions? Like what kind of questions should you be asking? Ideally, you know, a little bit more information you'd be looking for on those things that matter to you, like we were talking about earlier. Maybe they're things that are on the listing, but you want to clarify them. Maybe they're not on the listing and you want to see if they're included or not. And if not, how much are they usually? For instance, I asked if they could send some interior and exterior pictures. What you see on the virtual tour is not always exactly what you see. I mean, this place has new carpets and new bathroom and kitchen flooring, and new blinds and a new fridge and a new stove. And sometimes it could be the complete opposite. So could they send over some interior and exterior pictures? Could they send a floor plan? What expenses aren't included and how much are they usually? And also, how does parking work? Because we moved to Western Pennsylvania from Eastern Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania is Pennsylvania, okay? Now, before we go over what to do when all that information checks out, a commercial break.
I just called and they didn't answer. What do I say in the voicemail?
No need to fear. You can write this down if you want. Obviously with your name and number. Hi, my name is Billy Bob. I'm reaching out about the availability of a listing you guys have on apartments.com. Please give me a call back whenever you get the chance at 123-404-6969. I'm looking forward to hearing back from you and have an awesome rest of your day. If that sounds stupid to you, please feel free to customize it to your liking.
Now back to the show.
Step 5. What to do when you find the right place. The leasing agent will hopefully be able to help you out from here. Again, it may have to do with what state you live in. This video is not, by the way, any means of legal advice regarding especially leasing or rental agreements. If you have any questions about that, please go to a lawyer specializing in property leasing and or real estate for that purpose. We had to fill out a rental application with info about our renting history, vehicles, income, etc. They did a background check and it took a couple days for us to get approved, and then we put down a deposit to hold the apartment under our names. Step 6. Moving the stuff. How do you go about moving the stuff? Is there anything that you don't have to bring? Do I have any tips on packing? This last part is kind of the last part, but a lot of people have had success with U-Haul. However, if you have a family member or friend with a pickup truck, a minivan, an actual van, or anything like that, it can save you a bunch of money to literally go that route. It might take 2 trips. It took us 3 to 2.5, depending on how many of your belongings you plan to move. Packing tips. For peace of mind, you can also just trash it and replace it so there's no need to transport it. Again, the more money you have saved up, the better. Whether it be a bed frame, a mattress, a TV stand, a dresser, a couch, accent chairs, coffee tables. I think we got all of this stuff new, except the bed frame and the mattress. But whatever takes up the most space that you're open to replacing, you can find a new one on Amazon, Walmart, Wayfair, eBay. The lowest price ones anywhere will probably be on Facebook Marketplace or definitely Goodwill. If you're not looking for anything very, very specific, you may want to look there. Vacuum bags are great for clothes and Squishmallows. We have a bunch of Squishmallows. You just put the clothes in and you use a vacuum. For folding, there are different ways to fold clothes that actually save space, and you'd be surprised how little space 12 t-shirts can take up. Just like look that up on YouTube. There are short videos that can show you. But again, for the very most part, that is how to move out in 2021. Please let me know what I'm missing. If there's any information that you guys have that I didn't provide in the comments below. Please let me know if there are any other videos that you guys want me to make on similar topics, like how to get a job this year, what to do if you're scared of making phone calls. I'm probably going to make a video on each of those as well. But other than that, I hope you guys found value in this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm and hit that subscribe button because it really helps with getting these ideas across. If you want to turn up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to get a notification whenever I drop new videos, that would mean the world to me. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere and I will see you then.